So I have also seen a film at the cinema.
No way.
Yes, because I've been to see, as it'll come as shock to nobody.
John Wick 4.
No, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
Is that his full title?
That's the full title of it. So this was directed by Jonathan Goldenstein and John Francis Daly. Stars Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Regé-Jean Page, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. And it's bloody marvelous. It is really good. Like you go in, I had reasonable expectations because I found the trailers quite entertaining, but I was preparing myself for like maybe a 7 out of 10 kind of film. No, it's absolutely spectacular. It's really bloody good. So the film is it's pitched as kind of an action comedy. To me, it feels like kind of like a comedic adventure film. So it has, I think,
Marvel.
No, I think closest you could probably maybe put it to is something like The Mummy, where it's kind of like an unlikely group of people come together and then they have to go on this kind of adventuring journey against world-ending evil kind of thing.
Like Jumanji.
A little bit, yeah.
I fucking love Jumanji, mate. I don't even care. I don't care what anyone says. I love Jumanji.
All three of the Jumanji films are great.
All of them.
Different reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris Pine is the story is told from Chris Pine's perspective. He plays Edgin Darvis, a bard and a former member of a mercenary group. He has a lute. He is camp as fuck, but funny enough, he's not a horny bard. They're not doing that particular trope.
Don't believe him.
He's joined by Michelle Rodriguez as Holga Kilgore, a barbarian who was exiled from her tribe.
Does she have an axe?
She does. And she is welcome to use it at all times.
A barbarian exiled from their tribe. What a lame backstory that is.
Justice Smith plays Simon Almar, a half-elf wild magic sorcerer who is a shit sorcerer. I also really appreciate just the gentle Simon the Sorcerer reference. That tickled me. And Sophia Lillis plays Doric, a tiefling druid who is a big fan of wild shape. So the thing to remember with this film is it is...
They've ripped us off.
It has been written by people who clearly play Dungeons & Dragons, unlike that horrible Dungeons & Dragons film we had in the early 2000s with...
How dare you? With Jeremy Irons?
With Jeremy Irons in it.
How dare you, sir?
So bad, that film. One of the worst films I've ever seen.
This one is written from a perspective of... It feels like they were actually playing a campaign as they were playing this, and because this was what I enjoyed most about it, they do things that D&D players would do. Like, you know, when we're playing D&D, you'll think of a really
barrels
kind
in front of big giants.
You'll think of like a ridiculous solution to a situation. A couple of dice rolls, and it turns out it works.
Like so throwing a bear.
Like throwing a bear. So I'll give you this example. So the film starts with Edgin and Holga in a jail in Icewind Dale. They have a parole meeting.
That's a game.
Well, it's a region in the.
I know.
I'm
joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
They're in for a kind of a parole board kind of meeting thing, and like that's given the backstory to the film, like what they were doing, how they became thieves, yada yada yada, setting up all the kind of the main backstory plot points. All the while through, Chris Pine is saying like, "Oh, where's Jonathan?" Who is an Arakoka, who's a bird, a birdman.
Stupid names as well in that.
They do, yes. But anyway, and he keeps saying, like, this guy's missing. So where is he? And he's going into the story. And as he gets to the end of the story, when they're about to make their judgment, the birdman walks in. And what do? They grab him and jump out of the window of this tower to allow the birdman to, like, flap his wings and fly them down to the ground. And that's how they escape the prison. Oh, that is something D&D players would fucking do. That they would think, there is a window in this room, we're 15 stories up, let's jump out and grab the bird. You know? Mm-hmm. It's that level of stupid. The Hugh Grant plays the bad guy in this, Forge Fitzwilliam. So he's an ambitious rogue and a con artist. And he is having the best fucking time. He is playing him like Boris Johnson. I'm not even kidding. And it's
go out, don't go out, go out. Don't go out, like that.
And it's so funny. You can tell he's having so much fun with it, playing a bit of a bastard. And yeah, I absolutely adore the performance. I don't want to talk too much on the story because it does extrapolate like a D&D campaign would, where you're bouncing from place to place, you're finding out things. There are some weird cameos in this film. Bradley Cooper turns up at one point as a halfling. That was weird.
This is what I mean. Like, we're suing them because they keep having like a devilishly handsome halfling. I think we've already done that.
Oh yeah, we have already done that.
Quattro.
Wow.
Does Henry Cavill appear? Because he's a massive D&D.
No, he's not. He's a
player,
Warhammer.
isn't
No, he's
No,
Warhammer.
What's
Get your
that?
nerd
is it
things
Warhammer?
right.
It's Joe Magliagliaglo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fantasio.
Another stupidly handsome bastard as well.
There are some really fantastic references to D&D that you don't need to know about. Like all the spells they
Good,
use
'cause I
are D&D spells. There are characters and places referenced that are real in the D&D canon. There is a fantastic sequence with an overweight dragon. That dragon is in the lore of the D&D world. They bounce around, so they're up in the mountains. They go to the Underdark. They go to cities. They go to deserts. They have a really fun experience where they have to find answers. They have to find an item, and to do it, they come up with the idea of using the spell that allows them to speak to the dead. They're allowed to ask them 5 questions, and then the corpse goes back to being dead. And because they're in
like on The Witcher,
which
must have copied D&D.
yes,
Cool.
but because they're inept, they end up having to dig up the entire fucking graveyard to eventually get their answer. And it's just a really
They're
fun
asking questions
sequence.
when they shouldn't be asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's
Everyone's
like
on
Monty Python shit.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Everyone's on top form, but I have to single out, like, Michelle Rodriguez is so good in this film.
Like she's in Fast and Furious.
Well, this is the point I want to make. She, without having the kind of shadow of Vin Diesel around her, or maybe just the way that, or just the maybe
Definitely is Vin Diesel, mate.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
maybe the way he's kind of sculpted Letty's character.
Yeah.
Character,
She
inverted commas.
really gets to shine in this one. Like, Holga is a character with emotions, with feelings, with desires and drives that are not related to the man next to her. There is no romantic thing between Holga and Edgin, for example. They are purely platonic party members.
You're
And it
telling
works
me
so well.
she's an autonomous woman led to lead a film?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
An autonomous woman in her 40s as well.
I don't believe you. Hollywood's gone woke. I hate it.
But she's doing her own stunts, and the fight scenes that she gets are excellent. Like there is an early fight scene where she basically takes out an entire group of guards while Chris Pine is trying to get out of his handcuffs, and she absolutely just demolishes them, and that's when she gets her axe. And she is just so good at it, and this film actually does prove that she's a really fucking good actor.
She's the best thing in that original Resident Evil film as well.
She is, yeah,
By far.
yeah. And I think the other thing, what it's important to make this film, give the quality of this film is, it doesn't do the meta thing. This is not a film about a bunch of people playing D&D and this is how their campaign looks and we just go into their imagination. This is a film about a story in Faerun. Like, this is just a story in that world. So it's not like you don't get to the end of the film and the camera zooms out on a table and it's the actors all around.
I thought that's what I thought that was going to be.
I was a little worried they were going to do that, but the film works as an actual real thing and it just exists. And I really
They've already
like
said
that.
it's going to be a franchise now, haven't they?
Absolutely, I can see them
more.
doing a handful of good films out of this.
Yeah.
The use of kind of comedy in the action scenes is great. When they encounter a mimic, it's fucking hilarious. They pull out some really obscure monsters from the monster manual to put into this, and I just had a really good time with it. And Pip really enjoyed it, and she doesn't play D&D. She doesn't know it to the extent I do. You can see this on face value as a fantasy action comedy film, and it works. It doesn't bog you down
I
the
saw
lore.
on Roger Ebert's website, one of the reviewers said it reminds them of Jason and the Argonauts. I went, I'm in. I'm fucking in.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
in.
none of that.
I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, it's a really good family romp kind of film. It has a really good message to it. Everything's well acted. Like there's bits that'll be scarier for the little ones, they say shit a few times. But other than that, it's great. I want more films like this. I'm not just saying like in D&D terms. Like, this was just a really big fun film. It wasn't too ponderous over a message. It was just an adventure, And I think that like we haven't had a lot of films like that recently. So yeah.
Well, they're rebooting Aragon for you, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, apparently so. That's right.
I know there's a
TV show,
fifth
I
book in that series.
TV show, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, go and see Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's really good.